announcers, Rob Roasters, Slaughterhouse, are you ready? DJ next one. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Hello, Omaha Beef fans. My name is Matt Patten, and I am the host, and you are watching the Prime Cuts of Omaha Beef podcast right here on the Shady Sports Network. It is championship week, but before we get into our Prime Cuts episode tonight, we want to say thank you to a sponsor. Tonight, we want to discuss the season and the upcoming Champions Bowl 8 matchup with another member of our Omaha Beef defense, number 15 defensive end, Tamar Hart.
Yes, sir, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, Tamar, welcome to the Prime Cuts of the Omaha Beef podcast. We've been looking forward to having you on. Thanks for taking some time tonight.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the time of being on here.
So, when we were doing some research about you and looking at your career at Olivet College over in Michigan, we noticed that you started out playing as an H-back. So that obviously leads me to a question. We've seen several guys throughout the league this year and last year play both sides of the ball. Did you ever try to convince Coach Tatum and Coach Kaiser to let you play on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah. I mean, when I came in, I wanted to try it a little bit. Of course, I love defense, but I wanted to try it. But I think coming in being a rookie, you know what I'm saying, Coach Kaiser just wanted me to focus more on, my primary job. So that's what I stuck to. And then before we got to Tobias, I was gonna wait a couple games till I was doing good, and then try to sneak it in their ear, like, let me do the heavy package. But once we got Tobias, it was no need for a heavy package.
Absolutely. Tobias has been a lot of fun to watch this season. So have you. And I feel like you would have been a lot of fun to watch in college because after your redshirt freshman year, you switched over to defense. And over the next 23 games, you had 17 sacks, 32 tackles for a loss, 5 deflected passes, 3 forced fumbles, and you recovered 3 fumbles and were MVP of the Comets defense. So what do you attribute to that success on the defensive side of the ball in college?
I mean, I was first my dad has always been my trainer, you know what I'm saying? Like growing up, he always trained me on the game. But I was blessed to have some great coaches when I was in college, So once I switched over, they had played the position a little bit and they were able to give me like insight on it. And then the rest of it I just took my ability, you know what I'm saying, and started just throwing stuff together like, okay, I can do this. But I think that all just went into my hard work for real, you know what I'm saying? Once I lock my mind on something, I make sure I go ahead and get it done. So I think that was the most thing, is just working hard for real.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit ago that you're a rookie this season here in the CIF, but did you play anywhere professionally or otherwise in 2022?
No, I did not play football in 2022. So I graduated college with a criminal justice degree, a minor in communications. And after college was over, I took my degree and I got into my field, and I was working at a juvenile last year. And I reached out a couple places to try to play some ball, but honestly, I never really got answers. And my film from college was pretty nice. So I always wondered why I ain't get no answer, but instead of, harping on it and stuff, I just went on ahead and got into my field and started working in the criminal justice field. So that's where I was at for all of 2022 season.
Yeah, admirable work, no doubt. But that's impressive to know that you're a rookie with 45 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and an interception this season. So tell me, when you got that interception against Sioux City on May 6th, what was going through your head?
So like all week we knew like they leaked their running back out, and we play a little different defense, but I knew that one of those times it would end up me guarding him, So I'm like, let me run back here and try to bait the pass. So I let it look like he was leading a little bit, but I was in front of him the whole time. So when he threw it and I caught it, as you can see, I was in the end zone. Whole team, my coaches, everybody yelling, "Go down, go down, go down." They want me to just fall in the end zone. But me personally, I was trying to score. So I brought it back out, but I made it about to the 20 before I got tackled. But yeah, I definitely wanted to score that. That was the only thing on my mind.
Telling a big guy to get down when they get the football in their hands is like telling them to not go for the next hot dog or something. I don't know, but
man,
either way,
it's crazy because though I have one interception on the season, it's hard to put a defensive end in position to get interceptions. But at practice, when I play like linebacker and stuff, man, I got like 5 or 6 interceptions at practice. So like he know I can do it. I think it was just like field position. They didn't want me to get tackled inside the 5, but that wasn't even on my mind, man. I was trying to take it home.
I get it. I totally do. I used to play D-line, so I totally understand. But in the offseason, you signed with the Omaha Beef, and somehow on the roster, you are listed as 5'1", 245 pounds. So I have to ask you, how does it feel to be the shortest defensive lineman in the history of indoor football?
Hey, man, this is the craziest thing, man. Once I signed, I never looked at the roster. So we in Southwest, and we playing, a fan, he keep yelling, "Oh, run 15." Wait, he's 5'1". He's 5'1". So listen though. I'm wondering, I'm like, why does he keep saying this? Like, I'm clearly taller than 5'1". Like, okay, so the fan actually follows me on Twitter after the Southwest game, and then he asked me with the picture of our roster and said, "Man, you're the biggest 5'1" guy I've ever seen." And I seen it on there. I was like, "Oh, that's why he was saying that." So it was pretty funny, man. Everybody that we played against always said that. Like once we came out, they'd be like, "Man, you're not 5'1", man. I don't know why your roster say that. You're not 5'1".
Yep. And I just double checked. Yep, I just double checked, and it still says 5'1". So congratulations. So we've watched this defense absolutely dominate the CIF all season long. And, that goes especially for the defensive line that's comprised of you, Jay Sean, and Javari. Talk a little bit about the chemistry that you four have built this season.
Well, the first thing is Jay Sean and Javari, they played together. So when they came in, they had already had some chemistry, they like brothers. So when I came in, it was like me joining that relationship and then finding a way to put my own touch on it. You know what I'm saying? So as the season went on, we continued to gel. We became brothers. Like even on the off days, like people say, "Oh, Omaha," I seen somebody in the insider. Omaha played one game in 4 weeks. They might be rusty. Like, what people don't know is that we get together outside of practice time, and we practice on our own, So it's like it's not really it's not really just what we doing at practice. It's a lot of the stuff that we doing on our own, and then you look at it and you look at our defensive line compared to a lot of defensive line and offensive line. We're kind of undersized in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And so like, we know like once we get up there, everything got to be working as one for it to work. If we already outsized, all right, we all got to at least be going the same way, or we all got to at least be thinking the same thing on a rush for it to be able to come full hand. And so, I mean, after so many reps of working and doing that together, I feel like it's just became like secondhand. We get down there and it's like we talking just to make sure, but we probably saying the same thing to each other at the same time. Like, it just be crazy stuff like that, man. So I'm loving the time here with these guys, man. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's a theme that we've heard a lot throughout this podcast all season long, even during training camp when we were interviewing the new guys. And then, we've had Aaron Jackson on a couple times this season. But the theme that we keep hearing is that you guys are becoming like a brotherhood and you're making lifelong friends and that kind of thing. And as a fan sitting in the crowd, I can tell that you guys just genuinely love being out on that field together, playing like a team and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's great to hear. And I love to hear that. But let's transition to what's coming up. Okay. It's the CIF championship game, right? And you guys played these guys all the way back in week 7, April 15th. You guys beat them 36-31 in Salina, but both teams look a little bit differently offensively, with Salina having Ed Crouch as their quarterback now. So tell me, what do you know about Crouch as a quarterback?
I'm gonna be honest with you, completely honest with you. I know nothing about him. It's a lot of guys in the league. Like I say, it's my first year, so I be going into games blind, Matt. Like, of course, I'm watching film. I'm doing my homework, but I don't really know these guys from a can of paint. I don't know what they can and can't do. So my focus is it don't really be on who we playing, but on myself and my team, making sure that we putting ourselves in the best position to win, making sure we putting ourselves in position to make plays, and then actually making the plays. You know what I'm saying? So, like we practice like pros. Like a lot of players and people, they practicing, but they might not do contact or they might not. No, we thudding every time. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is getting to where they need to be. If you're not there, we'll run this play 20 times until everyone is where they need to be. So it's more of a just me versus me thing, with our team. It's just us versus us. As long as we come in and play how we need to play, nobody can really beat us for real.
So knowing that, right, let's talk a little bit
Yeah.
about how you as a defensive end prepare for a dual threat quarterback like Crouch.
Okay, so pretty one cool thing about our defensive line is like it's made up of all different athletes. You know what I'm saying? Jay Sean was a receiver. I was a running back, then a receiver, and then I moved to defensive end. He was a receiver to move to DN. Javari is our nose, but he has played defensive end. So you think about these things, and it's all contributed to speed. You know what I'm saying? And so I honestly love playing dual threat quarterbacks because the number one thing you think is that you're going to get away with your feet, and what I know is that you're not getting away with your feet, and so it becomes a game of who gonna make the right step or who making the right cut right here. But I man, it's crazy the way we're able to rally to the ball and just move around, man. I have fun seeing those things.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen that firsthand a couple different times this season where I've seen a quarterback and he's kind of back there and he's kind of scrambling around and I'm like, oh, he's going to get around the edge. And then it's either you or Jay Sean or even Javari, like just come around there and it's like, oh shoot, no, he's not going to get around the edge. So yeah, that's awesome to have athletes like that. But we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Tracy Brooks. He's been one of the best players in the CIF for a really long time. He's going to be really, really tough to contain. But during the week 7 game, you guys actually held him to only 28 yards on 10 carries. So what's it going to take for the defense to put on that kind of a performance again against Brooks this week?
Like I said, man, we just got to do our job, be where we need to be. We always have a great game plan in place, and then it'd be up to us to just go and execute the game plan. Coach breaks down the film. He know the tendencies. He know what they want to do, where they want to go with the ball, and what down, and then we put ourselves in the best position to make those plays. So just to control Tracy, he is a great player. He's a household name, but we just got to rally to the ball, man. He like to break 1 or 2 tackles and then be off to the races. So we just got to make sure we got 7, 8 people to the ball at all time, and we corralling them. But I think we're up for the task though. Definitely, it's a lot more. It's a lot hanging on this game than a lot more than just controlling Tracy. So we it's a top priority, but we looking to make this history, man. So I honestly don't think nothing can get in our way.
That's awesome. I love it. I like to agree with that statement. But I'm a little bit biased, but who's judging, right? So Tamar, I know you've watched the podcast. I know you've been around when the other guys have been on the podcast. It's my favorite time of the podcast. It's the segment we call Grilling the Beef. All right, I got 5 rapid fire questions for you. They're coming right at you. Here's the first one. What is your favorite pregame meal?
Chipotle.
Awesome. Love it. Second one. How did you choose number 15 this season?
Oh, that's a family number, man. My granddad played in that number. My dad played in it. My little brothers. I played it in it at college. So once I got here, I felt like it was only right to get 15.
I love it. That's great. That's a cool story, man. Awesome. What sports have you always wanted to try but haven't had the chance to try yet?
Swimming. I cannot swim.
Okay.
I want to dive, but I can't swim.
Okay, well then that is a perfect transition into the next question then. So dip a toe in first or cannonball into the pool?
Oh, I'm definitely dipping the toe in. I gotta see what's the temperature. What's the temperature?
That's my favorite question. I like to ask that one as much as possible. And what has been your favorite thing about playing for the Omaha Beef so far this season?
Ooh, man, it's been a lot, but I would say though the number one thing is like man, the brotherhood for real, man. The friends that I made, man. We came in like unlike a lot of teams, all our players been here since training camp. We don't really have new faces besides Tobias, and even then he was a known face already because he had been around the league. So like we all had to come in here and gel together in those quick couple weeks, and it don't matter where somebody came from or what their background looked like. It's just about what we got at stake right here on this field. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we do a great job at leaving all the problems off the field and coming to play football, and even handling the problems off the field, man. So like I said, my favorite part of being here has definitely been a brotherhood.
Yeah, it has been one heck of a season already. We are looking to finish out 12-0. You talked about history. History's on the line. The undefeated season, the second ever championship in the history of the Omaha Beef franchise. Do you have any final words for our Omaha Beef fans heading in to Champions Bowl 8 this weekend?
I just want to tell Beef Nation, man, come out, let's pack the slaughterhouse, let's enjoy this show that the Omaha Beef gonna put on. And when them clock hit on zeros, man, let's make sure we rush this field and celebrate. I'm ready to celebrate the first championship in Omaha. It belongs to Omaha.
That's right. That's right.
Yes,
And really quick before you go, if you don't mind, do you want to tell our viewers where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on Instagram at Tamar_Hart15. You can find me on Twitter at TamarHart15. Yeah, those are two that I really use, Instagram and Twitter. So you can find me on there, follow me. I'll follow back.
Awesome. Tamar, we appreciate you taking the time tonight. We know you're getting ready to prepare for the championship week, but thank you for your time tonight, and look forward to seeing you out there on the field on Saturday night, bringing home that championship.
Yes, sir, man. Thank y'all for having me, and be blessed to have a blessed one, Beef Nation.
All right, so we wanted to go ahead and do a little bit of a preview on our upcoming opponent, the Salina Liberty. Salina ended this season the number 2 seed. They came into the playoffs as the number 2 seed, and they got to this point of the season, the championship game, by defeating the Gillette Mustangs last week, 37-30. Some season statistics for Salina is they were second in scoring offense, and they scored 46.5 points per game. They were second in total offense, gaining 218 yards per game offensively. The rushing offense was fourth, carrying the ball for 90.7 yards per game. The passing offense was third, gaining 128 yards per game through the air. And their total first downs this season was second, and they had 16 first downs per game. And third and fourth down conversions, they were sixth in both of those categories. They gave up only 2 sacks all season long, according to the stats on the CIF website. That is a crazy number, especially in indoor football, with the small field and the only giving up 2 sacks is very incredible. And their time of possession this season was 7th with 28 minutes and 15 seconds of possessing the ball. Their defense was 5th in scoring defense, allowing 38 points per game. Their total defense was 5th, giving up 210.2 yards per game. Rushing, they were 4th, giving up 78.4 yards per game. And their passing defense was ranked 7th out of 8 teams in the CIF, giving up nearly 135 yards through the air to the opposing teams. First downs against them, they were 7th, giving up the second most first downs per game with nearly 16 at 15.8, and they were 3rd in sacks with 19 total sacks and 4th in interceptions with 14 interceptions. If you look at special teams, their special teams were ranked 2nd in field goal percentage with 40% on the season, which is rather impressive. Jimmy Kozlowski came in there and did a really good job for them kicking the football, and they were 1st in PAT kicks. That doesn't include going for 2, going for 3, going for 4. That just is PAT kicks. They were 1st with, again, Kozlowski hitting on 80% of his kicks. Our Omaha Beef are 1 win away from completing a perfect 12-0 season and winning their 2nd Champions Indoor Football League championship after defeating the Billings Outlaws 42-6 Saturday night in the semifinals of the CIF playoffs. The Beef face off against the Salina Liberty this Saturday night, June 17th, 2023, at the Slaughterhouse, the Liberty First Credit Union Arena, with kickoff set for 6:30 p.m. This marks the 3rd straight time that the Beef and Liberty will play to determine who is going to be champions of Champion Indoor Football. But it is the first time in the history that we have hosted the league championship in Omaha, and it will be the first time CIF history that a team can win a championship with an undefeated record. Let's take a look at a few key stats from this past Saturday's semifinal victory. The Beef were led offensively by Tommy Armstrong, who went 9 of 15 for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rushing, they had 99 yards as a team and 3 touchdowns, and were led by Tobias Taylor, who carried the ball 10 times for 45 yards and 3 touchdowns. Another impressive performance for Taylor, who's just been on a tear since he joined the Beef this season. Armstrong ran for another 54 yards on 10 carries. Receiving, we were led by Terrence Tolbert McIntyre, who had 3 receptions for 75 yards and 1 touchdown. The Beef's defense continued their dominance as Billings only was able to get 101 yards passing and 1 touchdown and only 14 rushing yards for the entire game. The Beef held them to 115 total yards for the game. Unbelievable. Our defense also forced 5 picks, 2 each by Draco, who is the league leader this year and has to have a record with 13 picks this season. Ponce de Leon also had 2, and Trey Dudley Giles had another pick himself. Tamar Hart led the defense with 1 sack. He's been playing well all season. This week, the Prime Cuts Player of the Week is running back Tobias Taylor, who carried the ball 10 times for 45 yards and had 3 touchdowns on the ground. He had 3 receptions for 32 yards and another touchdown through the air, and that was 77 total yards from scrimmage and 4 touchdowns. Seeing as it is the Champions Bowl matchup, and we've only played Salina once this season, I wanted to talk about some players to watch for this Saturday's championship game. Offensively, Salina is led by running back Tracy Brooks. He has had an impressive season, to say the least. Led the league in rushing yards with 556, and averaged 55.6 yards per game, which also led the league. He's very impressive, but as we talked about, We did stop him and get him to only 28 yards in that first matchup that the Beef had with them in week 7. He also was second this season in the league in rushing touchdowns with 16, and he had 13 carries for 55 yards and 3 touchdowns in their semifinal victory this past week against Gillette. Also offensively, they have a wide receiver, Demarius Washington, also known as D-Wash by a lot of people. He has been great this season also. He is a fun player to watch, but he's also very tough to contain. This season, he had 418 yards, which ranks 3rd best among receivers in the CIF. He also had 41.5 yards per game, which was 5th best in the league this season. And he was tied for 2nd with the Omaha Beef's own Journey Sloan for touchdowns in a season with 12. Defensively, they are led by defensive back Dontre Matthews, who was 3rd in the league in tackles with 38 and 3rd in interceptions with 6 this season, and by D lineman Travis Taylor, who was 2nd in overall tackles this season with 41 tackles. It's an impressive number for a defensive lineman. And he had 11 total tackles in the semifinal win over Gillette this past week. Some keys to victory this week from Coach Kaiser himself. Offensively, we need to continue to be efficient. We've seen over the last few weeks that the offense has gotten the ball and they've been efficient with it, and they've been able to score on most of their drives. So we need to keep that up. And he said that we need to make sure that we can try to keep moving the ball and score on every drive if possible. As far as the defense goes, obviously the defense has been great, but Coach said that they need to continue to communicate and make sure that they are all on the same page every play. We did see a few times throughout the season where maybe the DBs got a little mixed up with their assignments and their coverage, and it led to some deep pass plays over their heads, and they did lead to a couple touchdowns. But ultimately, obviously, they've been great all season. But we also know that their offense runs through number 2, which is Tracy Brooks, is what Coach said, and that they've got to be sure to be able to contain him if they want to be successful and walk out with the victory. The special teams, he kept it simple. He just said they just need to be special this week, that they've been really, really good special teams wise lately. Paul Ortiz, our kicker, has been incredible over the last several weeks, and we just need to continue to have that momentum in the special teams game, especially with our success that we've had in the return game over the last few weeks. All around, though, obviously, we can be very happy with where this team is in the current state, leading into Champions Bowl 8, and they're just looking to finish out this championship game, finish out that undefeated perfect season, and bring home that championship to all of Omaha Beef Nation. Tickets for Champions Bowl 8 are going fast, and you can still get yours and be part of history as the Omaha Beef look to finish that perfect 12-0 season and capture their 2nd CIF championship in 3 years, and only the 2nd in franchise history. And we're going to do it at home in the slaughterhouse, but we need every single one of you watching this to be there, be loud, and invite your friends. Invite everybody that you know to come to this game. It is going to be an incredible atmosphere as our guys battle with the Salina Liberty to try to bring home that championship. Call the Omaha Beef ticket office at 402-346-2333. You can reach Ricky and some of the other staff in the office. They'll help you get your tickets, or you can stop into the Liberty First Credit Union Arena right there at the box office and get your tickets for Saturday. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss this game. I know there's a lot going on in town this week, but you're going to want to be at the Slaughterhouse on Saturday night to watch the Beef make history and win that 2nd league championship. On the next episode of the Prime Cuts of Omaha Beef podcast, we will do a full recap of Champions Bowl 8. It's going to be awesome regardless, but I got a feeling that we're going to pull this one out. It's going to be the 2nd championship, and I can't wait to be there for it. Thank you for watching the Prime Cuts of Omaha Beef podcast, and until next time, go Beef!
Omaha Beef Football! Prime Dancers! Rump Roasters! Slaughterhouse!